Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nicole. Thanks for clicking on today's video. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, do all the things so you never miss a video. In today's video, we're gonna cover group fitness classes. Which one is right for you, which one is best for you, which ones I like, which ones I don't like. We're covering it all. I'm the type of person that prefers a class because I just want somebody to tell me what to do. I don't want to think. I still go to a gym and I do like bodybuilding style workouts. However, I just love a class. So every once in a while I will jump on in a group fitness class to get a good workout in. I have quite literally tried every class under the sun because I have commitment issues. I'm the type of person who will join a gym or a studio or whatever, and in 6 months' time, it's time for a change. I just get bored. I've tried them all, and I have also been a group fitness class instructor. I used to coach at Orange Theory long time ago. I know the game. I know the group fitness class game. And I'm gonna give you all the inside scoop. On top of being an instructor, I've mentioned on this channel before, I am a doctor of physical therapy, so I'm kind of an expert at movement. I know the classes that are gonna make you better, and I know the classes that are gonna injure you. So we're gonna get into all of that in today's video. Now, before we get into today's video, let me just say, any movement is good movement, period. However, there is better ways to maximize your movement for overall health, fitness, well-being, whatever term you wanna use. Ultimately, if we're gonna talk about like that perfect recipe for exercise health, and again, I'm talking just exercise health. Overall health, fitness, that there's a lot that goes into that. Diet, mind, all that stuff. We're not throw that out the window. We're just looking at the movement portion of health. In order to get that perfect formula, you need to be doing resistance training and you need to be doing some form of cardio. That's the perfect formula for you. If you're only doing resistance training, you're missing out on your cardiovascular system, which is your heart, your lungs. It's not getting attention. And that is pretty important for health. Now, on the other side, if you're only doing cardio, you are missing out on your musculoskeletal system, which is what gives support to your bones, ligaments, joints, blah, blah, blah. You're missing out on all that. You gotta have both. You got to have both. One and not the other, it's not good. And if you disagree, I'm sorry, but I firmly stand on that opinion. Now that I'm off my little soapbox, let's get into it. So, I have stuff written down because there's a ton of fitness classes. And then I have them also grouped into categories. So, first category we're gonna start with is HIIT classes, high intensity interval training. This is gonna be your Orange Theory, your F45, your berries, usually any style of like boot camp class. So if you're not going to like a chain studio, I call them chains, or franchise, whatever. If you're going to like your local gym or whatever, a lot of times it's boot camp. But basically these classes are designed to kill you for almost like 60 minutes and then send you out the door and say, have a great day. No, but there is method to their madness. I don't love that we've like all termed these classes to be HIIT classes, because true high intensity interval training is only done for like 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes. And that's it. If you truly did like a HIIT workout, it is maximum effort, rest. Maximum effort, rest. You can't do that for an hour. Your body will burn out. Society has just kind of coined all these 45 to 60 minute classes as HIIT classes. Whatever. Who are HIIT classes best designed for? That is like, it's such a hard question to answer, because you walk into a lot of these studios and they say it's good for anyone and everyone, and it's beginner friendly, blah, blah, blah. However, if you've never worked out in your life, if you've never done any physical activity in your life, and you are like, I'm gonna sign up for a HIIT class, it's gonna be hard. It's probably gonna scare you a little bit because they are pretty intense. A lot of these classes include running, and just coming from the standpoint of never working out, jumping into classes like that, it can be pretty daunting, unfortunately almost discouraging. They say these classes you can take at your own pace, which, yes, if you are the type of person who can block out everyone around you, not look at what's going on, and truly take it at your own pace, try it out. If you are like me and you're super competitive and you see the person next to you sprinting, and then you're gonna start sprinting, even though I can't sprint, but that guy is, and I need to beat him. If you're like that, then I wouldn't say it's beginner friendly. I would say HIIT classes are great for somebody who's trying to lose weight or looking to use it as like a cross training method. If your goals are to gain muscle, honestly, these are not the classes for you. Is that to say that in a HIIT class you're not going to gain muscle? No. However, they are very cardio based. Sometimes that much cardio put into an hour is physiologically just going to make it difficult to actually gain muscle. Now, with that being said, a lot of times it does come down to the individual. That's you. And the individual needs to listen to their coach. I'm going to use Orange Theory as an example because I coached at Orange Theory. And a lot of these classes follow like the same style as Orange Theory. So a lot of the classes have a setup to their week. So they have certain either body part days or certain days where it is more of a cardio day and certain days where it's supposed to be more of a strength day. That is the design of almost all of these classes. So more specifically with Orange Theory, they have 3 days. They have a strength day where your reps are lower, but you're supposed to pick up heavier weight. You have an endurance day where your reps are higher, so a little bit lighter weight, and then a power day, which is like power moves, cleans, all of that stuff. And then usually they'll do a day, which is like a combo of all 3. Now, let me just say from personal experience of coaching, what happens a lot of times is as a coach, we are trying to give you guys instruction on how to structure your workout. So yes, you do have the option to pick your own weights, but the coaches are meant to give you cues like, hey, it's only 5 reps. Let's maybe pick something a little heavier. And what happens almost 90% of the time? Nobody listens. Nobody listens, and they're still picking up the lightest weight possible because they just want to get the movement done. They want to rush on to the next exercise. So my thing would be like, you know, with Orange Theory on a strength day, if your coach is telling you to pick up a heavier weight, like just pick up a heavier weight, slow down. It's a strength day. You're not meant to rush your lifts. We're focusing on hypertrophy. We're slowing down the movement, picking up a heavier weight. And then with that being said, a lot of times, you know, I know like Orange Theory and Barry's, they have a treadmill portion. So it's, you know, being conscious of the amount of cardio you are doing. So personally, like when I would work out at Orange Theory on strength days, I would actually not run at all in the treadmill and walk on an incline. Yes, it's still cardio, but however, you're getting a little bit more like resistance because of the incline versus just running. That's where the topic of like gaining strength in these classes is kind of like. And then there's always like, again, if you're newer in your fitness journey, you know, there is the, what we call like newbie gains. You know, if you've never lifted or whatever it is, if you sign up for a HIIT class and you're doing it for a long period of time, yes, you're going to see muscle. But a lot of times it's because you're probably losing fat and kind of uncovering muscle that you maybe couldn't see before. I'm talking about like someone like me, who I've been working out since I was literally 3 years old. I've adapted to a lot already. So if I want to really focus on gaining muscle, I'm gonna have to not be so cardio heavy in a HIIT class, if that makes sense. But otherwise, HIIT classes are fun. Energy is high, vibes are high. They are a little expensive. To be honest, everything I'm talking about is expensive. Like, all these studio gyms are expensive. It's just the name of the game at this point. I mean, they are all led by, credible trainers. At the end of the day, they're all usually franchises. It does come down to, honestly, your location. Just make sure that walking into these classes, you know what you want to accomplish. Don't let them talk you into anything that you don't want. If you're going to use it as, your main source of workout, just make sure that you are letting your body recover. Don't be taking these classes 6 days a week. That is too much. It's too much. You need to recover. And that's on HIIT. Next category is Pilates. For my Pilates queens, I am well aware that what society views as Pilates and what actually is Pilates, we've lost the plot somewhere. And it's quite sad. I know what Pilates is. Pilates is actually based off of physical therapy. So I'm very well versed in like true Pilates. However, we've gotten into the habit of calling just everything Pilates, like the Mega Reformer, Legree, all that stuff. We call that Pilates, which actually is not Pilates. For the purpose of this video, I've grouped it all into Pilates. So don't come for me. I know what Pilates is. Pilates like studios are going to be Studio Pilates, Club Pilates, Solid Core, Sweat Society. I've done them all. Who is Pilates good for? Come closer when I say this. Everyone. Everyone should be implementing at least 1 to 2 Pilates classes into their exercise routine per week. I don't care if you have never worked out in your life or if you are an NFL athlete. Both of these people should be doing Pilates. Everyone should be doing Pilates. It is so great for injury prevention. It works on all the muscles that you probably don't work out that actually support your joints. It is low intensity. It is low impact. It's great. Honestly, coming from a physical therapist, if I would ever get athletes that came to see me, sometimes they're just not there. They're not in a PT session. PT is boring, blah, blah, blah. I can understand that PT can be boring. I can accept that. I would just tell them, you know what? Go do Pilates. Because let me let you in on a little secret. A lot of what we do in physical therapy, again, based off of Pilates, so can be very similar. There's also a ton of added benefit to seeing a physical therapist. But as far as exercise portion, not like a hands-on perspective. Exercise portion, I modeled a lot of my exercises off of Pilates. Now, is Pilates going to make you shred the pounds and lose weight? No, it's just not that intense. Again, Pilates is more of that resistance side. Like I said in the beginning, you also need to be adding cardio. So if you're gonna be like doing some sort of cardio outside and also doing Pilates, great. That is like perfect. But if you're just gonna be doing Pilates as your workout, and your goal is weight loss, you're probably not gonna see a ton of weight loss. Here's my thing with Pilates studios. A lot of these franchises are very structured towards beginners. So there is a point where it gets boring, it gets repetitive, and you just kind of max out on the difficulty in that studio. That is honestly what you get when you go to any franchise. There's little to no evolution. Now, if you're going to your Mega Reformer classes, so that is like your Solid Core, Sweat Society, Legree, if you're doing that, a lot of times that seems harder. Again, that's not Pilates, but for the sake of this video, we'll call it that. It is harder because it is heavier resistance than typical reformer Pilates. Let's keep in mind, Pilates is not just on a machine. Pilates is also mat Pilates. There's so many different forms of Pilates. I love reformer Pilates because it's just fun. I love it. But there is mat Pilates, and there's a lot of free resources on YouTube. Move with Nicole is one of the ones that I really like on YouTube, that they do a little follow along mat Pilates class. So because Pilates studios are typically very expensive. Now, my best recommendation is that in order to find a really good Pilates studio, you want to find your like local mom and pop Pilates studio. They only have 1, maybe 2 locations in the area, and that is it. They are not outside of that area. They started their own studio. Those studios are run by Pilates instructors that have gone through a ton of hours, a ton of certifications. They know what they're doing and they do it well. The franchise studios typically run their instructors through their own program, and it's usually significantly shorter than what it actually takes to become a Pilates instructor. So they're more tailored to teaching at that studio versus teaching Pilates in general. Pilates is so form specific. If you're doing Pilates and you tell me it's easy, you're not doing it right, because it's not easy. And I don't care how fit you are. If you think Pilates is easy, your form is off. Simply said. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this video. I have a lot of strong opinions here. Like I said, try to find that local studio. They are elite. I used to live in Houston, and I'm gonna shout out the studio because I love them. They are the best studio I've ever been to. So if you're in Houston, check them out. They're called Boost Pilates. I think they have 2 locations, but amazing. The instructors are amazing. Each instructor writes their own workout, which I love. I hate when you go to studios and it's like the same workout for the whole day. Like, we're not showing off the talent of fitness instructors. Like, they go take courses and go to school for this career, but yet we hand them like a paper template. No. I get we want consistency, but at the end of the day, like, I want the instructor to write the workout. So at Boost Pilates in Houston, they write their own workouts. It is like whatever class you're going to, like, that instructor has written that workout. If you stayed for the next class and it was a different instructor, it would be a different class. All the instructors are just super smart and they all know what they're doing, and I love it. Everyone should be doing Pilates. So sign yourself up or find some free resources. Next, barre classes. Disclaimer, have only done 1 barre class in my life, and it was at Pure Barre. Who is barre good for? Honestly, I do think barre is pretty beginner friendly. You're probably not gonna be able to walk the next day, but it's still pretty beginner friendly. And barre is also one of those classes where, like, if your main goal is weight loss, you gotta be doing something outside of barre in order to attain weight loss. Making a barre class your priority is not gonna get you that weight loss. Again, there's just no like high intensity or like any sort of really activities that raise your heart rates. There's no cardio in barre. If you're an ex-dancer, you'll probably really like barre. Let me rephrase that, because I used to dance and I didn't like barre. If you're an ex-dancer who enjoyed ballet, you'll probably like barre. I hated ballet, so that's probably why I didn't like it. Did it make me sore? Absolutely. Couldn't walk for the next 2 days. But again, barre is similar to Pilates, where you're focusing on like those really small muscles that you didn't know you had. I think it's great. I just think that it's not great for your only source of working out. You got to be doing something else besides barre. Next category, CrossFit. Oh, CrossFit. I'm gonna try to be nice. I'm gonna try to be nice for this. Here's my thing with CrossFit. I am never going to be the type of doctor that tells somebody that squatting or like doing any sort of those Olympic lifts, I'm never going to tell someone not to do it, because at the end of the day, if you train properly, all of those movements can be very safe and effective. if you're doing it right. If you're doing it wrong, that's where injuries occur. And that's my issue with CrossFit. They market themselves as like an all-inclusive, anybody can try it type of workout. However, that is not for a beginner. If you've never lifted weight in your life, I would not start with a CrossFit class. You're gonna get hurt. Those lifts are too difficult, and oftentimes they make you go way too heavy and you're gonna end up injured. CrossFit keeps physical therapists employed. Again, I think you have to find the right gym that is going to cater to you. So if you are a true beginner with those lifts, you need to find a gym that hosts like beginner classes. And you need like more than one beginner class, because you need to focus on form. You should not be lifting any weight until you can perform all the movements with good form. And you should not be going up in weight until you can perform the movement with good form at the weight you're at. Simply said, that goes for everyone. So some places will take the time to have beginner classes and spend more time with their beginners. Some do not. So if you are a beginner and you walk into a CrossFit gym and they just throw you in with everyone else, honestly, leave. Go to a different one. I took one CrossFit class in my life, and the structure of the class was they wrote the workout on the board. Then they said, go. You got an hour to complete it. And everyone just went to their little stations, loaded up their bars, and started throwing weight around. And that to me is just... that's how people get injured. I mean, CrossFit, you do have the ability to really maximize on strength. I just think that it can be done in the wrong ways, which is my issue with CrossFit. If you find a place where it's done the right way, I have no issue with CrossFit. I think it's great. I would just be cautious. I would just highly recommend that people trying CrossFit people have already been in the gym. I would not recommend this to be your first workout. Next category is the boxing, kickboxing like category. So this could kind of go into HIIT because a lot of boxing classes are HIIT style. I made it its own category. So I've done like title boxing classes like that. Honestly, I love boxing. I think boxing is fun. It's just one of those workouts where you definitely still need to be doing something else outside of boxing because it's very like cardio and upper body heavy, not a lot of legs going on, so definitely still need to be doing something to strengthen your legs. I like to throw in boxing every once in a while because it really just uses muscles in my upper body that I forget about, and every time I do a boxing workout I'm sore, like my whole back is sore. I like to throw it in every once in a while. I think boxing is very beginner friendly. Anyone can put on some gloves and throw some punches in a bag. It takes a second to learn the combos, but they usually will teach you all of that before you start. I think boxing, as far as weight loss, again, it's kind of that HIIT style, so I think it can be definitely targeted to people who want to lose weight. As far as building muscle, again, there's not a lot of progressive overload going on in those classes, so maybe not the greatest for building muscle. All right, last category is our cycle classes. So I've done cycle bar, cycle 8, I think it's called, or state, something like that. Soul cycle, all of those classes. So cycle is pretty much what it says. It's you ride a bike for 45 minutes, and there's usually some fun dance moves, and you ride to the beat, and it's fun. Personally, I think it can get a little boring. It's pure cardio. So if you go back to my little happy formula, you're just doing cardio, you gotta be doing something else. You got to be doing something else. You gotta do some sort of resistance training if you're gonna do cycle. I think it's very beginner friendly. Anyone can get on a bike, ride a bike. Sometimes keeping up with the rhythm, if you're a beginner, can be hard. However, choose the bike in the back and nobody really knows. All those dance moves, if you don't do it and you're in the back, nobody knows. Because I'll be honest, sometimes those are like, it's too much. Like, I don't want to be, I feel like I'm at a rave when I'm doing a spin class. Ultimately, like, it goes back to, again, that's just cardio. You got to be doing something else. Like, if you're only doing spin, or if you're only doing cardio, runners as well. This isn't like part of a group fitness class, but we'll throw you guys in here. Runners or cyclers, if you guys are only doing that, I promise you, you're gonna get hurt. And I'm not talking about the type of injury where it's like, broke my ankle. No, you're gonna get your overuse injuries. So your aches, your pains, my ankle hurts, my knee hurts, my hip hurts, my back hurts, because you're just doing cardio and you're not doing anything to support your joints. So you've got to do both. Otherwise, you're gonna end up injured. I use cycle as a class that I do more in the winter because in the summer I like to get outside, walk, run, whatever. But in the winter, my cardio fitness goes down. So I'll try to add in like spin classes in the winter just to keep my heart healthy. That is all the categories I have. Like I said, classes are great to keep you motivated. I would say motivated and accountable. The downside to classes, they are expensive. And honestly, all these classes, like you're looking at minimum $100 per month. That's on the low end. I mean, mostly like $100 to $200 a month for these classes. So can you look up the workouts to these classes on your own and do them on your own? Absolutely. Do a Google search. You can find the workouts out there. You didn't hear it here. However, you just kind of lose that, again, accountability aspect. You lose the having a coach help you if needed. You lose the environment, the vibes. I'm a type of person where, I mean, you could give me the workout, but I would just rather pay and go be in a class to do it. I hope that helped, because I know when I was starting like my fitness journey, I used to like YouTube reviews of these classes, and it's sometimes hard to find like which one should I be doing? So I hope that helped. If you have questions, leave them below. Like I said, I've literally almost taken every fitness class that there is. The only thing I haven't done is hot yoga. The only reason I haven't done hot yoga is because I can barely sit in a sauna for 10 minutes. So I don't know if I could do a class for 45 minutes. But we'll get there one day. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have questions, like I said, leave them below. Make sure, like, subscribe, do everything, and I will see you in next week's video. Bye.